Be me, feminist, Morgana, 21. Studying to be a teacher. Shaping young minds is basically my calling. It was sometime late last semester, maybe a Thursday night. One of those evenings where the air gets cold fast, sitting in my apartment with my best friend, Blair, the only person who really gets it. We're drinking this awful tasting chamomile tea that's supposed to be calming. It isn't. Scrolling through our phones, not really looking at anything. The usual depressing feed. Girls from our classes posting pictures with their boyfriends, all of them looking interchangeable. Same vacant smiles, same guy with a backwards baseball cap and a t-shirt from some concert he probably didn't even enjoy. Blair lets out a long sigh. I just don't understand the appeal, she says, gesturing vaguely at her phone screen. I know exactly what she means. We have this conversation at least once a week. It's the sheer mind-numbing predictability of it all. The guys our age, they don't seem to want a partner. They want an accessory, someone who nods and smiles and doesn't challenge their worldview in the slightest. I tried explaining this in one of my education seminars, talked about how societal expectations box men into wanting intellectually passive partners. My professor gave me a weird look and changed the subject. Some people just aren't ready for the truth. I tell Blair, it's not about appeal, it's about comfort. They're terrified of anything that doesn't fit into their tiny, pre-approved box. She nods, sipping her tea. They're intimidated, especially by you. Your energy is just too much for their fragile little egos. It's not even a compliment, it's just a statement of fact. We've seen it happen enough times. I'll be in a group talking about something that actually matters, like the subtext in a film or the ethics of a news story. A guy will be there, and you can literally watch his brain shut down. The eyes glaze over. He starts looking around for an escape route. Then some other girl will walk up and say something like, "Oh my God, I love your shirt." And suddenly he's engaged, animated, laughing. It's a performance, a pathetic little song and dance to prove their masculinity isn't under threat. We keep scrolling, and then we see it. A post from some girl who lives in the dorms. A party, tonight. The picture is a blurry shot of red plastic cups stacked into a pyramid. The caption is just a bunch of emojis. Blair looks at me. I look at her. A slow smile spreads across my face. This is it. This is the perfect opportunity. You're thinking what I'm thinking, aren't you? She asks. A field study, I reply. We don't need to say anything else. The plan forms in our minds simultaneously. For too long, our theories have been based on observation from a distance. Anecdotal evidence. What we need is direct interaction, a controlled experiment. The hypothesis is simple. The average modern male is incapable of engaging with an intellectually confident woman. When confronted, he will default to social withdrawal and rejection, not out of personal preference, but as a defense mechanism against perceived intellectual inadequacy. The party is the laboratory. The attendees are the subjects. We just need to pick one. The excitement is way better than the calm the tea was supposed to provide. We have a purpose now. We're not just going to a party. We're conducting research. We start getting ready, and the whole process feels different. It's not about looking attractive in the conventional sense. That would contaminate the results. The goal is not to attract, but to observe a reaction. I pick out an outfit that is functional and statement-making, a pair of dark, high-waisted pants, and a vintage band t-shirt for a band that I actually respect for their lyrical content. No makeup. My hair is just tied back. I'm not here to be looked at. I'm here to look. Blair does something similar. She wears a denim jacket covered in patches with various slogans. We look like we're going to a protest, not a party, which is, in a way, true. We're protesting mediocrity. As we're about to leave, Blair turns to me. So what's the methodology? How do we select the subject? I've already thought about this. He has to be the baseline, the absolute median. Not too popular, not a total outcast, not overtly dumb, but clearly not an intellectual. We need the control group personified. She grins. I love it when you get all scientific. The walk over to the party is short. It's in one of those big houses off campus that the sports teams always seem to rent. You can hear the bass from a block away, a monotonous, thudding beat, the soundtrack of conformity. We step inside, and the smell hits you first. Stale beer, sweat, and something vaguely like cheap air freshener failing at its only job. The place is packed, bodies everywhere. It's a sea of the same people we see on our social media feeds. My eyes scan the room, and my brain immediately starts categorizing. There's the cluster of girls who are clearly dressed for other girls, judging each other's outfits. There's the group of loud, boisterous guys performing their alpha status for anyone who will watch. It's like a nature documentary. Blair leans in close so I can hear her over the music. It's even worse than I imagined. It's perfect, I say back, a target-rich environment. We get some water from the kitchen to look like we're participating. Holding a cup is the urban camouflage of a house party. Now, the selection process begins. I'm scanning the crowd, dismissing candidates. That guy in the corner? Too obviously trying to look like a tortured artist. He'd probably agree with me just to seem deep. Experiment ruined. The one doing a keg stand? Too much of a caricature. The results would be skewed. We need someone who isn't performing. Someone who is just existing. And then I see him. He's standing near the back porch door, talking to a couple of other guys. He's the epitome of average. Brown hair, not styled in any particular way. Wearing a pair of jeans that fit okay and a dark t-shirt with some kind of graphic on it. He's not the center of attention. He's not a wallflower. He's just there. He's holding a red cup, listening more than he's talking, occasionally nodding. He has a pleasant, entirely forgettable face. This is our subject. This is Kyle. I give Blair a subtle nod in his direction. She follows my gaze, and her eyes light up with understanding. Oh, he's perfect, she mouths. Absolutely no distinguishing features. The control variable, the constant. Now we just need to wait for the right moment to approach. We position ourselves a short distance away, pretending to be in our own conversation. From here, I can study him. He's not trying to impress anyone. His body language is relaxed. He laughs at a joke one of his friends tells. It's a genuine, unforced laugh. In a room full of people trying desperately to be something, he appears to be content just being. This makes him an even more fascinating subject. He is the raw, unshaped clay of modern masculinity. His friends eventually wander off, probably to get more drinks. He stays by the door, just looking out at the backyard. This is our window. I look at Blair. Phase 2, initiation of contact. She gives me a thumbs up. Record everything. I feel a sense of calm purpose as I walk over. My footsteps are steady. I'm not nervous. Why would I be? This isn't a social interaction. It's data collection. I stop a respectable distance from him, not invading his personal space. Pretty standard for a party, huh? I say, my voice even. It's a neutral opener, designed to elicit a simple baseline response. He turns, a little surprised someone is talking to him. He gives a small, polite smile. Yeah, I guess so. They're all kind of the same. Interesting. A flicker of self-awareness. Maybe he's not as basic as he appears. Or maybe that's just the most generic response possible. I need to escalate the intellectual pressure. I gesture with my cup towards the crowd. It's funny, isn't it? You see the same archetypes at every single one of these things. It's like a social script everyone agrees to follow without ever reading it. I watch his face closely for a reaction, a slight furrow in his brow. The smile becomes a little more strained. He's processing. Huh, he says. I never really thought about it like that. Of course he hasn't. That's the point. This is the first test. He could either engage with the idea or dismiss it. He's chosen a third option, polite non-committal acknowledgement. He's trying to de-escalate the conversation back to a comfortable, superficial level. I can't let him do that. I lean against the doorframe, adopting a casual but deliberate posture. I need to make it clear that I'm here for a real conversation. Take that group over there, I say, nodding towards the loud guys near the keg. Classic performance of toxic masculinity. The volume, the aggressive jokes, the way they take up so much space. It's all a desperate attempt to reaffirm their status in the pack. I'm using specific terminology now. I want to see if he recognizes the concepts. He glances over at the group, then back at me. His face is a blank canvas of confusion. I don't know, he says slowly. I think they're just having a good time. The denial, the simplification. It's a classic defense mechanism. If you reduce a complex social issue to just having a good time, you don't have to confront its implications. You don't have to confront your own role in it. I can see Blair in my periphery. She's watching intently, a small, proud smile on her face. The experiment is proceeding exactly as we predicted. I press on. But what is a good time? And why does it have to look like that? Why is the male definition of fun so often tied to loudness and dominance? I'm not asking aggressively. My tone is curious, like a teacher gently guiding a student toward a revelation. He physically shifts his weight from one foot to the other, a clear sign of discomfort. He feels cornered. He's looking around again, but his friends are gone. There's no escape. Look, I really don't know anything about that stuff, he says, and there's a definite edge to his voice now. It's just a party. He's trying to shut me down, to invalidate my line of questioning by framing it as inappropriate for the setting. It's a subtle attempt to regain control of the social frame. I recognize the tactic immediately, so I switch gears. I'll make it personal. I look at his t-shirt. It's some metal band, Iron Maiden, predictable. That's an interesting choice, I say, pointing at his shirt. He looks down at it, as if he'd forgotten what he was wearing. Oh yeah, they're a great band. Great, maybe, but also a bit problematic, don't you think? The lyrics, the album art. It's all very rooted in a specific, aggressive type of fantasy that's been used to exclude women from the genre for decades. His mouth opens slightly. He is genuinely baffled. He's probably never had to justify his taste in music in his entire life. He's never had someone question the political implications of his t-shirt. The discomfort is radiating off him now. It's palpable. It's just a shirt, he says, his voice flat. I like their songs. The retreat into simplicity is happening faster now. His defenses are crumbling. He's being confronted with ideas his brain isn't equipped to handle, and his only response is to try and shrink the context until my observations seem absurd. From society to a party to just a shirt, he's building walls. I know I've almost got him. The hypothesis is on the verge of being proven. I just need one final push. I drop the academic pretense and make direct, personal eye contact. I think you're more thoughtful than you're letting on, I say, my voice softer now. You're just not used to having these kinds of conversations, are you? It's a calculated move, part accusation, part feigned empathy. It's designed to force him into a final corner. He either has to admit his intellectual insecurity or lash out. He just stares at me for a few seconds. The gears are turning. He's trying to figure out what I want from him. He can't, because I don't want what other girls want. I don't want his number. I don't want his validation. I want his data. And he's about to provide the final, conclusive piece. He finally breaks eye contact and shakes his head, letting out a short, humorless laugh. Look, he says, his voice tired. I'm sure you're right about all that. It's just a lot to think about right now. He's trying to placate me. A verbal pat on the head. You're very smart. Now please go away. I wasn't going to let him off the hook that easily. This wasn't about being right. It was about understanding the mechanism of his rejection. I decide to change tactics completely. If the intellectual approach causes a system shutdown, maybe a direct, conventionally social approach will expose the core programming. I'll give him the kind of interaction he expects, but on my terms. I take a small step closer, intentionally entering his personal space a little. Okay, you're right, I say, adopting a lighter, more playful tone. Forget all the heavy stuff. My friend and I are doing a social experiment, and you're part of it. His eyes narrow slightly, a flicker of suspicion. An experiment? Yep. We're trying to see if it's possible to have a genuine conversation at a party like this. So far, you're the most interesting subject. It's a lie, of course, but it's a lie framed in a way that should flatter his ego. I'm giving him an out, a chance to re-engage on simpler terms. A small, uncertain smile plays on his lips. He's not sure if I'm making fun of him. I don't know if I'm that interesting, he says, a classic self-deprecating line. I'll be the judge of that, I say, smiling back. Tell me something not boring about yourself. This is a standard party question. This is his comfort zone. I'm tossing him a lifeline to see what he does with it. He thinks for a moment. I'm learning to play the guitar, he offers. The one on my shirt is what inspired me. It's a simple, honest answer. It connects back to our earlier point of contention, but in a way that is personal and non-confrontational. He thinks he's successfully navigated the conversation back to safe waters. He doesn't realize he's still my subject. We talk for a few more minutes about music. It's incredibly dull. I ask him questions and provide minimal input myself. I'm just a sounding board. He's visibly relaxing. His posture is less tense. He's making more eye contact. He thinks he's passed some kind of test. He thinks he's handled me. In his world, he has successfully weathered the storm of a weird, intense girl and steered the interaction back to normalcy. Now for the final phase of the experiment, the catalyst. I need to introduce the element of direct, female-initiated romantic interest. This is where the fragile masculinity I've been probing at will reveal itself in its purest form. He's comfortable now because he thinks I've been socially tamed. He has placed me in the harmless, quirky girl box. I'm about to break out of that box. I wait for a pause in his story about learning a new chord. I lean in a little closer, lowering my voice slightly to create a sense of intimacy. You know, I say, for a guy who claims not to be interesting, you're not so bad to talk to. It's a gentle, complimentary probe. He smiles, a genuine one this time. Yeah? Well, you're different. Different good or different weird? I ask, still in that playful tone. Different good, he says, and he seems to mean it. The subject is primed. The conditions are perfect. Time to trigger the reaction. I look him straight in the eye, letting the smile drop from my face to show I'm serious now. Okay, enough talking. Are you going to get me a drink, or should I just get one for myself? I let the question hang in the air. The subtext is clear. This isn't a request for a beverage. It's an invitation. It's a direct, unambiguous display of female initiative. I am taking control, and I watch, with the detached fascination of a scientist, as his entire demeanor collapses in on itself. It's instantaneous. The smile vanishes. His eyes widen, just for a second, in what looks like pure, unadulterated panic. He takes an involuntary step backwards, physically creating distance between us. His face, which had been open and relaxed, becomes a closed, guarded mask. The shift is so sudden and so total that it's almost comical. I've seen startled animals with more composure. Oh, he stammers, looking not at me, but at a point somewhere over my shoulder. He's searching for an excuse. His brain is cycling through social scripts and coming up empty. There's no pre-written response for this situation in his limited vocabulary. A girl being direct, a girl taking the lead. It's a critical error in his operating system. He thinks I'm the one who is broken. He doesn't realize it's his programming that's flawed. I don't let him squirm for long. I need to document the response, not torture the subject. I raise an eyebrow, keeping my expression perfectly neutral. Is that a no? I ask, my voice calm. Yeah, I'm sorry, he says, still avoiding my eyes. I'm kind of here with my friends. I should probably go find them. It's the lamest, most transparent excuse in the book. His friends had abandoned him 20 minutes ago. He hadn't cared then. His rejection isn't based on circumstance. It's based on fear. Fear of what? Fear of a woman who isn't passive, a woman who doesn't wait to be chosen, a woman who doesn't need his permission to want something. This is it. This is the moment of proof. The entire experiment has led to this single, undeniable conclusion. I can see Blair over by the kitchen doorway. She's watching us, and even from this distance, I can see the look of vindication on her face. I turn my attention back to Kyle. He's already starting to back away, desperate to escape. I decide to give him one last piece of data to take with him. I let a knowing, slightly sad smile touch my lips. It's okay, I say, my voice soft again. I get it. It's intimidating when the woman makes the first move, isn't it? I'm not asking. I'm telling him what he's feeling. I'm diagnosing his condition for him. His head snaps up. He finally looks me in the eye, and his expression isn't panicked anymore. It's angry. A flicker of defiance. That's not it, he says, his voice low and tight. That's not it at all. The denial. The final predictable stage. The subject protesting the diagnosis. It's not? I ask, feigning innocence. Then what is it? I thought we were having a good conversation. We were, he says, then stops. He doesn't know what to say next, because the truth is, he has no logical reason to reject me. I am intelligent. I am confident. By any rational measure, I am a catch. His rejection is not rational. It's primal. It's a deep-seated, socially conditioned terror of female agency. He's not rejecting me's Morgana. He's rejecting the very concept of what I represent. Look, I have to go, he says, his jaw clenched. He turns and practically flees, melting back into the crowd. The experiment is over. I stand there for a moment, letting the results sink in. I feel no disappointment, no sting of personal rejection. Instead, I feel a profound sense of clarity. It's the feeling of a theory being proven correct in the most spectacular fashion. Blair walks over, her eyes shining. I saw the whole thing, she says, the exact moment his brain broke. It was incredible. Textbook, I agree. Every stage happened exactly as predicted. The initial confusion, the defensive retreat to simplicity, the brief comfort when he thought he had control, and the final system failure when confronted with direct female initiative. A few people nearby are looking at us. They probably heard my last few comments to him. Let them look. Maybe they'll learn something. We came here to conduct a study, and we have our findings. The male ego is as fragile and as predictable as we've always said. It's not that they don't want us. It's that they can't handle us. There's a fundamental incompatibility between our intellectual confidence and their need for social dominance. Blair puts a hand on my shoulder. So, mission accomplished? Want to get out of here? Absolutely, I say. There's nothing more to learn here. We walk out of the party, leaving the noise and the ignorance behind us. The cold night air feels clean and refreshing after the stale atmosphere inside. We walk in silence for a block, processing our victory. You know what the saddest part is? I say finally. What's that? He'll probably never understand what happened tonight. He'll just go home and tell his friends he met some crazy girl. He'll frame it as my failure, not his. He'll never have the self-awareness to realize he was the one who was tested and found wanting. Blair nods. He'll find some simple girl who laughs at his jokes and never challenges him, and he'll think that's happiness. And she's right. That's the system we're up against. A system that rewards mediocrity and punishes strength. But tonight, we didn't just rail against it. We exposed it. We poked it and watched it flinch. As I get back to my apartment, I don't feel anger or sadness. I feel empowered. My future students, especially the girls, need to understand this. They need to be prepared for a world that will try to dim their light because it's too bright for some people. My experience tonight wasn't a rejection. It was a lesson. And it's a lesson I plan to teach.